Psychology behind serial killers. Serial killing is a topic that has intrigued society for centuries. It is an act that defies reason and evokes an array of emotions: fear, confusion, and a desperate need for understanding. Why does one person kill? And why does another kill repeatedly, often with no clear or immediate provocation? The process of comprehending serial murder involves examining multiple layers of human behavior and personality, including psychological, biological, and environmental factors. While each killer's journey is unique, there are underlying patterns that suggest common causes, or at least shared traits, among these notorious criminals. Serial murder is not just an act of violence. It is the culmination of a series of disturbing psychological developments that slowly take root over time. The list of infamous names in the history of serial murder is long and chilling. From Ted Bundy to John Wayne Gacy to Jeffrey Dahmer, each one of these individuals carried out horrific acts. But what they shared was not just the ability to kill, but an underlying psychological condition that turned them into predators. The motivations and personalities behind serial killers vary widely, but there are often commonalities in their early life experiences, psychological disorders, and deep-rooted desires that continue to captivate both criminologists and the general public. Serial killers often present a mystery. They seem ordinary, functioning within society, hiding in plain sight, making it harder to identify them until it's too late. Their behaviors, however, reveal cracks in their psyche, a fragility that emerges when studied more deeply. What is it about the human mind that drives these individuals to commit such horrifying acts over and over again, often leaving behind a trail of devastation and chaos in their wake? To understand serial murder, we must first explore the psychology that underpins it. Early life and childhood trauma. One of the most significant contributing factors to the formation of a serial killer is often their childhood experiences. A substantial number of these criminals come from backgrounds filled with neglect, abuse, and early trauma. These early years are formative, shaping how a person interacts with others, forms attachments, and views their place in the world. When a child's needs, whether emotional, physical, or psychological, are not met, or when they are subjected to traumatic events, it can lead to severe emotional damage that affects their behavior in adulthood. For many serial killers, their troubled upbringing is a recurring theme. Take John Wayne Gacy, for example. His childhood was marked by a father who frequently belittled him, creating a strained and negative relationship with the paternal figure. Gacy's emotional scars ran deep, and it was these early encounters with rejection and violence that played a role in his later development as a murderer. Similarly, Ted Bundy's childhood involved a great deal of uncertainty and instability, as he was raised by a mother who was unmarried, and he never truly knew his biological father. The sense of abandonment and confusion in Bundy's early life may have contributed to his violent tendencies later on. But it's not just neglect or abuse that leaves lasting marks on children. It's the kind of attachment they develop, or fail to develop. Attachment theory, which emphasizes the bonds that children form with their primary caregivers, suggests that early emotional connections are crucial to a child's ability to form healthy relationships later in life. Serial killers often exhibit signs of attachment disorders, stemming from inconsistent or absent emotional nurturing. These disorders can cause feelings of loneliness and alienation that linger well into adulthood, making it harder for the individual to connect with others in a healthy way. In some cases, these early traumas and attachment issues can evolve into more extreme forms of violence. The emotional numbness and inability to form connections often manifest as aggressive or predatory behavior, which becomes one of the driving forces behind the killer's later acts. These unresolved issues take root deeply in the subconscious, influencing every subsequent choice the individual makes, including their eventual crimes. Psychological disorders and personality traits. Psychology plays a pivotal role in understanding why certain individuals become serial killers. Various mental disorders and personality traits have been identified as common among these criminals. Some of the most prominent include antisocial personality disorder, ASPD, narcissistic personality disorder, NPD, and psychopathy. While these disorders are not always directly linked to serial killing, they can provide valuable insight into the twisted logic that governs these individuals' actions. Antisocial personality disorder is perhaps one of the most recognizable traits found among serial killers. It is a condition where an individual consistently disregards the rights of others, often engaging in deceit, manipulation, and aggression without remorse. People with ASPD may commit violent acts with little to no regard for the consequences. This lack of empathy and the drive to violate social norms and expectations is a hallmark of the condition. Serial killers with ASPD often enjoy the power they have over their victims and may see others as mere objects to be used to fulfill their needs. Another psychological condition that frequently appears in serial killers is narcissistic personality disorder. People with NPD have an inflated sense of their own importance, believing they are superior to others and deserving of special treatment. This delusion of grandeur can make them see themselves as invincible, above the law, and entitled to whatever they desire. For serial killers with NPD, the act of murder may be seen as an expression of their own dominance. The victims, in their view, are expendable, mere pawns in a game designed to bolster their sense of superiority. Psychopathy is another factor that contributes significantly to the psychology of serial killers. Psychopaths are notorious for their complete lack of empathy. They are skilled manipulators, able to blend into society seamlessly, and often appear charming and normal on the surface. Psychopathy is often associated with a superficial charm, a tendency toward lying, and a complete inability to feel guilt or remorse. These traits make it easier for the killer to commit heinous acts without emotional distress. The lack of emotional connection to the victim allows the killer to maintain a level of detachment from the brutality of their actions, making it easier for them to continue their spree without hesitation. The need for control and power. Another core element of many serial killings is the killer's desire for power and control. For these individuals, the act of murder is not just about ending a life. It is about asserting dominance over another human being. This need for control is often the driving force behind the killer's actions, pushing them to find victims who are vulnerable and easy to overpower. Serial killers often choose victims who are weaker or more isolated, people who are less likely to fight back. Women, children, the elderly, and vulnerable individuals are frequent targets, as they represent easier prey for someone looking to exert control. The sense of mastery and dominance that comes from overpowering and killing someone can be an intoxicating feeling for these individuals. It satisfies an internal need to feel powerful, to conquer, and to bend others to their will. Some killers develop elaborate rituals that center around their desire for control. These rituals may include specific methods of murder, particular ways of displaying the body, or even interactions with law enforcement and the media. For example, the Zodiac Killer's cryptic letters to the media and the police were part of his grand game. He took pride in the fact that he was always one step ahead, toying with the authorities as a show of his superiority. The role of fantasy in serial killing. Dark. Violent fantasies are a critical aspect of many serial killers' minds. These fantasies often begin in childhood and gradually intensify as the individual grows older. For some, these fantasies become so vivid and consuming that they cannot be suppressed any longer. The act of killing becomes the final step in fulfilling a long-standing desire to dominate and destroy. These violent daydreams can be extremely detailed, involving specific plans for how to capture, torture, and kill their victims. They may fantasize about the victim's final moments and envision themselves as all-powerful, in control of every aspect of the situation. These fantasies fuel the killer's need to act, driving them toward a final violent resolution. For some serial killers, the killing spree is an attempt to fulfill their fantasies. They may start with smaller acts of violence or cruelty, such as torturing animals, before escalating to human victims. The violence is not just an expression of anger or frustration, but a necessary step to bring their internal fantasies to life. Societal factors and media influence. While individual psychology plays a central role in the development of serial killers, societal factors cannot be ignored. In many cases, the media plays a pivotal role in both creating and feeding the killer's need for attention and validation. For some, the notoriety that comes with their crimes is a major motivator. The media's sensationalized portrayal of these killers can make them feel like celebrities, providing the validation they crave. They may go out of their way to send cryptic messages to the media, taunting the authorities and reveling in the attention their crimes generate. Moreover, societal factors such as social isolation, a lack of meaningful connections, or personal alienation can also influence a person's descent into serial murder. People who feel disconnected from society may turn to violence as a way to reclaim a sense of power or attention. The rise of social media and online communities can exacerbate this issue, allowing individuals with violent tendencies to find like-minded individuals who validate their dark desires and fantasies. Conclusion. The psychology behind serial killers is a complex and multifaceted issue that involves a combination of biological, psychological, and environmental factors. While no two serial killers are identical, there are common themes: early trauma, personality disorders, a need for control, and dark fantasies that unite them. Understanding these factors is critical for both preventing future crimes and identifying potential threats before they escalate. Serial killers are not born overnight. Their dark inclinations develop over years, shaped by their life experiences and their distorted perceptions of reality. The more we understand the psychological underpinnings of these individuals, the better equipped we become to address the factors that lead to such extreme behaviors. Through this knowledge, we hope to find ways to prevent further tragedy and ultimately create a society that is better prepared to deal with the complexities of human nature. Thanks for watching.